Hi guys, I'm Claire and you're watching Rent to Grown, and today I'm going to make some fall recipes that I've been really looking forward to. But first I've got to run a couple of errands and I'm going to try and talk to my landlord. Okay, so I have to go to the grocery store and pick up a few things, but before I do that, I still have to figure out my carpet situation because it has been way too long and I'm living in the house now and the carpet's gross. So there's a carpet place like right next to my house, kind of. It's like a mile away or less. But I'm gonna go up there real quick before I go to the grocery store and see if I can get an estimate. Well, that went pretty well. The guy's about $100 more than I want to pay, but I really want to use them. I have a feeling I'm going to end up having to buy my own carpet and pad and do my own installation. So anyway, I'm here at Kroger. Glad to be back at the Kroger I grew up with. And you know, we had Payless in Indiana and it's the exact same thing, but it's nice to be back here. So I'm gonna go in and grab my couple little groceries and see who all I know in here, because it's usually like everybody. I made it out, but as you can see, it started raining while I was checking out, and so it was a little bit concerning. I thought that I would get out to the car and like make a mad dash and get super wet, but it's lightened up a lot. So hopefully the rain stops soon. Doesn't really look like it, but we'll see. If it does stop, then I might get some painting on my cabinet doors done later this afternoon. But I have this sneaking suspicion that it's gonna get dark before it gets dry. I just made it home from talking to my landlady up the road, and I wanted to come over here and show you where this garden patch of mine is going to be. I don't know if you can tell, but it goes from about here to about there, all the way down from here to about there. It's a pretty big spot. I haven't measured it and the grass is wet, so I don't know that I'm going to. I might. But anyway, I talked to her and asked her where she would want me to have a fall garden, and this is where she told me to get. So I'm going to talk to Matthew and see about bringing some of our tools down and maybe renting a tiller and putting some stuff in. Okay, I did end up kind of rough measuring it with just like my foot steps, and it's about 15 by 45, so that's pretty good size. I know that my landlady and one of my way older cousins that functions more like a great aunt, both of them really wanted some fall garden stuff. So if I get out here and get to work, I know that I'll be able to produce something before winter hits. Have I mentioned that she is the sweetest lady ever? Because she just gave me a whole bunch of fresh okra. And then she also gave me a straight edge razor so that I could clean my glass stovetop, because that's kind of been a pain for me. Alright, now that I am home from scoping out a garden area, I'm going to make a couple of different dishes. I'm taking just some country ham pieces that I have here and kind of tearing them up a little bit into smaller pieces and just throwing it in my crock pot because I'm going to make some white beans, and you gotta have some kind of meat in there. Sometimes I'll take a single chicken drumstick or chicken thigh or something and put in there, but this time I have ham. Alright, now I'm going to add to that a can of diced tomatoes with jalapenos. I add that just mostly for the acidity of it and because I do want it a little bit spicy, but you definitely do not have to add that. This is my preference. So I'm going to add that with all the juice. Right in there. And then for this I'm using navy beans, but you can pretty much use whatever you want. I'm going to put a can of navy beans in there. Because I want to make quite a bit. So now I'm going to add 3 cans of water. And then you certainly don't have to, but I'm going to add some beef bouillon just in case. Not a ton. And then I'm also going to add a bay leaf. Since it is later in the day, this will not be my dinner tonight. This will probably be my lunch and dinner tomorrow. But I am going to put it in the crock pot on high. I'll check it and make sure that it's all good and add water as necessary. But it should be done by about the time that I go to bed. Alright, the next thing that I'm doing is butternut squash, which is super easy, but I don't have the best knife for it, so we will see how this goes. So usually I would use a much bigger, sharper knife than this, but I don't have all my stuff here in the new house yet, so I've got to make do with what I've got. There we go, that'll work. And then I'm going to take a spoon and scrape out the seeds here, and I will end up using those and roasting them like you do pumpkin seeds. Alright, now you can microwave this, you know, if you put it in a bowl that would fit in your microwave, and that's fine. I don't love the texture of it when it's microwaved, so what I'll do is I'll take and put just a little bit of water in the bottom of this, and then I'll put it in the oven. It's already preheated to 350, and I'll put it in there until I can put a fork through it easily. So I'm not sure how long that'll take, maybe an hour. Alright, I have washed and cleaned the seeds a little bit, and I've got, so you really just need some kind of fat or oil, and all I have right now is margarine. I know it's terrible, but that's all I've got. So I've melted maybe a tablespoon or so in here, and you can see there's still a couple of little bits of orange flesh. That's okay, it's not a huge deal. I'm just going to dump these guys in here, and then I'm going to season them. Now, you can do savory or sweet, but I think I'm feeling sweet. And I've got some kind of fall spices that I'm going to season these up with. So this is a mix of cinnamon, clove, ginger, and nutmeg. So I'm going to do just a little bit of that in there. It's pretty heavy on the clove because that's what I had a lot of. And then I'm going to put in whatever that is, like a teaspoon or half a teaspoon or so of sugar, not very much. And then I'm gonna mix it up. If my butter or margarine was unsalted, I would put just a little bit of salt in there, but it's gonna be just fine. It may actually be a little bit too much margarine because I thought I had more seeds than this. Alright, well, I'm just going to roll with it. I'm going to put it in and see how it goes. Now I'm on to what I'm eating for dinner tonight, which are these pork chops. It is local pork. Comes from Curly Tail Barbecue out of Sardis, Tennessee. This is their menu. They came to the Jackson Farmers Market. So if this is not sponsored, this is my first time trying their product, but they are super, super nice people, so I'm looking forward to it. I was originally going to bake these, but I couldn't find anything to cover the dish with, and I didn't want to do them a disservice by drying out their product. So I have them seasoned with a little salt, pepper, and tarragon, and then I'm going to add to that, all I have is margarine for my my oil. So I have margarine and a little bit of apple cider vinegar in here that I'm just going to pour over and rub into these guys, and then I'm actually going to pan fry them. So here's our first one. I wish I had something else besides margarine to cook these in, but you gotta make do with what you got on hand. And butter is way too high in West Tennessee, at least in my area. I'm not making my own yet. So, there are those. And just when I thought I really didn't have one, I ended up finding a lid. Obviously, it doesn't go to this one, but I'm going to use it. I have cut the eye off. I have flipped them for the final time, and I'm going to let them cool down here. I may move them off of the hot spot on the stove, but I'm going to let them cool down and rest for probably another 10 minutes or so, and then they should be fully cooked and done. In the meantime, this is how our butternut squash looks. It looks really good, but it's definitely not done. And then these are seeds. Looks like it's starting to get a little bit toasty in there for them, so I'm going to pull. Okay, so you remember earlier when I said I put too much margarine in it? I pulled them out and I used a spatula to kind of stir them up and everything, and I think they're pretty good. So since they were just like soaked in oil, I have my towel that I used to grab it out of the oven, and I just folded it up underneath so that it's sitting at an angle, so all the oil, while it's still really hot, can drip down. And then as these cool, because I put a little bit of sugar in it, they will probably all harden together, which is fine with me. And then I'll be able to break them apart, but when I eat them, all that oil won't be in them. The pork chops have already, I'm not going to open it, but they've stopped sizzling and popping, which is really nice, and they look so good. It's later now. The butternut squash is done. I have not pierced it, but you can tell, like, it's done. It's done. I have not eaten my pork chops yet. I need to. And then those are the seeds, and I've been picking them off. They are stuck together from the sugar, but they're really good and crunchy. They're really good. So I'm gonna eat a pork chop. I'm gonna put the rest up, and then I guess I'll be done for the night because it is still raining, so I'm not painting today. Almost forgot, I do have this bag of turnips that I got from the farmer's market, and I need to use them. The greens are pretty much too far gone to use. Some of them are still okay, but a lot of them are gross. So I need to use those, but I may stick them back in the fridge and use them tomorrow.